Hello everyone and welcome back to Jacqs. Thanks for joining me today. I'm doing something a little bit different and giving you a bit of an insight behind the scenes of what's been going on in my world, and to give you notice of freebies, of course, because you know I love to do that. So let's get started with the details. Since April, I have been working as a freelance contractor for Country Craft Creations, and one of the things that I do for them is to create a monthly newsletter. Part of the newsletter that I publish is a digital printable that I create. The elements that you see here on my table are from the July digital printable, and you can get this by subscribing to Country Craft Creations Country Corner newsletter. So each month is a free printable that you can use in your crafts. And if you buy their exclusive paper lines, these go along with those paper lines. So July's printable goes along with Under the Stars paper collection. Now for the digital printable, I typically write a blog post and share with you how to create some items using the printable. This month, I thought I would do something a little different and share with you a video for those visual learners. We don't want to miss out on anyone. So that's what we're doing today. Is I'm going to go through what I'm using these elements for that are included in the printable. So here is what the printable looks like. And as I mentioned, when you sign up for the newsletter, it comes with a PDF file. You just click the link and you're able to download the PDF. Once you click on the PDF button, a browser will open for Dropbox showing the newsletter. From there, you want to download the newsletter and it will download to your browser. So click on that button to then save to your files. Once you have this saved to your computer or storage location, you want to open up the PDF and you want to set your printer settings to be actual size. Now you can change the quality of print on your printer as well. Everybody's printer is different, so it's difficult for me to actually tell you exactly what setting to use, but on mine there is a premium setting, and I typically use that to get the best quality images printed. So these elements have been printed out on 65-pound weight cardstock. Country Craft Creations has that in their line of papers, and you can also use a higher quality cardstock as well, or you could even use photo paper. The printable is also designed so that once you print it, you can use your scissors and fussy cut out the elements. I try not to make them too difficult, but this month we do have some trees and it does take a little bit more time to fussy cut these out. This month I wanted to create a Memorydex card to go along with the other blog post that I wrote for Country Craft Creations, and it's on Layering 101. So they kind of mirrored each other, and I thought it would be fun to go ahead and do the video to kind of talk through that. The Layering 101 is also linked in the newsletter that comes along with the printable, and it is also on Country Craft Creations blog site. So you can get to the blog without actually being subscribed to the newsletter. So what I thought we would do is start with the Memorydex card, since that's where I started. But as you can see, I went a little crazy on all the elements, and we're going to do some fun things with these. Okay, to create the Memorydex card, we're going to use the principles of layering. And you're going to need some flat adhesive. You could use tape or wet adhesive. I'm using art glitter glue. Please excuse my really dirty bottle. It's really loved. And you're going to need some foam adhesive. So with layering, the first thing you're going to do is to identify your base layer. So the Memorydex card is my base layer. It already has a pattern on it, so I don't need to do that. If you are starting with a blank base piece, you may want to consider whether or not you want to put pattern paper on there or if you wanted to keep it as a solid color. Today I'm using this. And then I just start building on all of my elements that I want to use. All of these elements match because I'm using one paper collection, and that's what I'd recommend if you're starting out on how to learn how to layer. Using one paper collection, they're already meant to go with each other, and you don't even have to think about whether or not the colors match. When I was creating some of the new elements, I just made sure that they matched in the color family that I was already using. So I want to put down my little camper and add my tent. Now, since my camper is going toward the right, I want to use my tent that is going toward the left. If you use your tent that is going toward the right as well, you're kind of just leading the eye right off of the Memorydex card. So you want to keep them focused on the Memorydex card. So using a tent that goes left and a camper that goes right keeps your focus on the card. I have this adorable Happy Trails sign that I created, and I really want to use this. I just haven't quite figured out the placement of it. And if this goes off the Memorydex card, it's okay. My Memorydex cards in my card holder, they're all over, and I love that. I don't like being confined to just this little area all the time. So something like this might work. Actually, that looks kind of cute. And I can make it up a little higher if I want. I kind of like the idea that the camper is in front of the tent. It gives you that dimensional and layered look. And then what I'm going to do is stagger my trees behind the camper. And I'm just picking some random trees here. Again, this one kind of goes off to the left-hand side, but when you add it behind these that go straight up and down, it doesn't pull your eye off of the Memorydex card. It actually keeps it kind of swirling right back around because of the fact that the tree is going like this and kind of comes down. So paying attention to the direction of the elements that you're using is something that you may want to consider when layering. You know what? I think this looks pretty good. You don't know how many times I tried to figure out where to put that sign, and I just did it without thinking about it. I love it. Now what I want to do is add elements and use my adhesive foam. I think the first thing I'm going to do is put down my sign. This can be flat on my Memorydex card. So I'm just going to use wet adhesive. So leaving my tent there, I'm just going to lift it up a bit and put that down. Okay. Next, I'm going to add some adhesive foam on the back of my tent. Just to make it look like the sign is kind of in the background and not right behind the tent. Now, for my camper, when we add adhesive foam onto this one, we're going to double it up because this is like a flat layer. This is your first foam layer. If you put it the same height, they'll just lay on top of each other. And we want this to look like it's in front of it, kind of far away from it. So we're going to double up the adhesive. And it's just a matter of stacking your foam pieces on top of each other, unless you have in your stash some really thick adhesive. See? So this together is 1/8 of an inch. Let's see if that's going to be good. I think that's going to work. You could even do one more if you wanted to. Should we do it and just see what it looks like? I'll just leave the paper on that. Well, that's kind of nice. Let's do that. There are really thick foam out there that you could use. This one is about 1/4. It's just slightly under it. So that was 3 pieces. Oh yeah, look at the nice dimension that that gives. I'm loving that so far. Before we go any further, I want to get our trees in there. I kind of wanted to stagger these. So I'm just going to do just a little bit of gluing here just to get them kind of where I want them. Let's see how that is looking. We could make some of the trees dimensional. Like we could lay this one down flat and then put these up maybe the same height as the tent. Let's try that out. I'm not pushing anything down so I can just get a feel for it. So cute. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll glue this one flat. See, that's nice dimension there. Now, since we added dimension onto our trees, we really don't need let's see, I think what we'll do is take off this little one. There. Because then I can, yeah, that's good. When you add adhesive foam to one set, you may not need 3 layers of adhesive foam on this piece that you're going to put over it. So you may only need 3 layers here. You can take off one off of these 2 so that it all still ends up even. Okay, so I'm going to glue the bottoms of these trees down just so that they'll stay in place. I hope that made sense. So what I'm doing is we've added adhesive to the top to get the dimension that we wanted. I'm gluing these down just so that it'll be easier. If you leave adhesive on this all the way down, you don't always need 3 layers of adhesive on the piece you're putting on top. If you do, you may end up with this being higher than the front of the camper, and we don't want that. In this case, I removed the dimensional tape underneath that end, and now it works fine. Okay, so I'm just going to add my camper here. And there we have our Memorydex card. So when you're new to layering, my suggestion is to just get an example of some layering that you like and try to mimic the layering that you're seeing. A good one to start with is Simple Stories. They have some new layered elements out and they're super cute. All you need to do is just look at the layering, identify the number of layers. So if we look at this one, we have our base layer, we have some other flat elements, we have a tent that is dimensional, and trees. So right there we have 3 different layers. Now we're going to add this one on top, which will be 4 layers. So then just select your elements. They can be similar to these as well, and then just start laying them out. Just copy what you see, and over time you will learn how to do it yourself. So I think this is adorably cute, just for a quick and easy Memorydex card. Now, after I created the elements for the Memorydex card, I then went a little crazy with making the elements tiny. And then that gave me another idea. So what we're going to be doing with these are making paperclip toppers. So for these little cuties, you just want to take and score down the center here in between the two elements. So I'm just lining this up with any line in the scoreboard and making a score line between the two elements, and folding that over and burnishing. Another way that you can do it is to just take the piece and fold it over, making sure that you are lining up the two pieces together and then burnishing them. Now I've used some Distress Oxide Vintage Photo, and I've inked the inside just in case any white might show through. I have one more here. This adorable little s'mores. Had to do the s'mores. And just burnish. And I'm going to go ahead and go around this. Okay, so these are ready. You're going to need some adhesive tape. You could use hot glue. You could use regular wet adhesive glue, whatever you like to do. And some paper clips. And these are your standard large paper clips. Let's start with this one. And what I'm going to do is actually put down some adhesive tape. I'm going to take off the backing. And I could take my paper clip. You want to make sure you're using the end. That's just one loop at the top, 2 loops at the bottom. And put that down in the center. And when you got it where you want it, I think that looks good, go ahead and close this up. Now I would suggest maybe using your bone folder, the round end, and just kind of going in and around the paper clip itself, making sure that the two pieces are closed tightly around the paper clip. Otherwise it could slip out. This one is in pretty good. And there you have your paperclip topper. You could even add it to our Memorydex card. Let's try another one. These are fun and easy to make. And actually we have one more after this. This is a great tool to use because you can just curve the paper right around the paper clip and you get a nice seal. I hope you can see that. And now we have 2 adorable paper clips. And our last one is the s'mores. Of course, we had to do that one. And once you do one, it's pretty easy to do the rest. Here I have a gold paper clip. You don't want to go too close to where the tops of these parts of the paper clip are. Oh, actually I had an orange one I was going to use. So let me put this down here. And let's see. Easy peasy. These are adorable. Oh my gosh, too cute. So as I was playing with the smaller size, I also then blew them up a little bit, and I thought, oh, these would be fun to do something with as well. So I did include both designs, but I'm only going to show you how to do something with this one as well as the larger, s'more pieces. So I'm just going to set this one aside. For this, I thought it would be fun to create a little box that you could set out. Okay, to create our box, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 4 3/4 by 3. We are going to score on the short side at 1 and 2. Let's rotate this to the left one time, and we're going to score at 1 and 3 3/4. What you should have here in between these two score lines is 2 3/4 inch spacing, okay? Now we want to take our scissors and we're going to cut up from the edge of our paper up to the first score line going across. And we're going to do that all the way around. So just cut straight up. On the next line down, cut straight up. Flip this around and repeat. Now let's go ahead and fold and burnish, and I guess we could have done that before the cutting. To create this into a box, you're going to take the two little wings on the end and you're going to fold them up and they'll go down on the inside. We'll add adhesive to the back sides of the two little wings and glue them on to the center pieces. And then you end up with your box. Now sometimes when we do this, as you can see here, because we're layering on top of a piece, it pushes this up just ever so slightly. Hope you can see that. So what I like to do is go in and just do a slight angle cut on the tops of these wings. So I'm just going to start here at the score line at the top, and I'm just going to make a slight angle cut. See how little that is? Very little. I have glue on my scissors and it was stopping me. All right, now it's on my finger. So again, I'm just going right here at the top of the score line. I'm kind of laying my scissors right up against that score line, putting my scissors at a slight angle and cutting. Yep, very little. Flip this around and repeat on the other side. Now we can take our wet adhesive and glue these down. So I'm just bringing up the edge. I'm going to burnish those down. Now let's do the other side. Make sure you square off the corners. So you have a nice square corner there. And burnish. Now we have our little box. We're going to take our little van. So as you can see, we have a left and a right, and we're just going to glue this onto the front. I'm kind of putting it right here in this area so that the wheels will actually help to keep it up on the desk. I'm going to try and make it as level as possible. And we'll repeat that on the other side. Now, if you want, you can add pattern paper from the collection or from your stash. You can add that to the inside of the box or the ends of the box. But for today, I'm just going to do it this way. And then you just put this one on, kind of make sure you get it lined up like the previous one. And then just burnish that down. And there you have a cute little holder. Now, of course, I thought about what would you put in here, but actually this can fit a single serving of a s'mores, right? You could put in your little marshmallows, your chocolate, and some graham crackers. And it could just be a single serving that you set out. How cute is that? Like a little gift. But what I thought is I included these in the printable. You have, again, front and back. And I thought, well, why not turn this into like a little mini album if you wanted it to be that, or it could be a place where you journal about your adventures, and then that could sit in here as well. So to do that, you're going to need one piece of cardstock that measures 7.5 by 1 1/4, and you're going to need one piece of cardstock that measures 7 by 1 1/4. For the 7.5 piece, you're going to score. I would need my bigger scoreboard. Let me get that. For the 7.5 piece, the long side across the top, you're going to score 1 3/4, 3.5, and 5 1/4, and then add 7. For the 7-inch piece, you're going to score with the long side across the top at 1 3/4, 3.5, 5 1/4. For these, we're going to do a zigzag fold. So on the larger piece, I'm just folding back, creating a mountain, folding up to create a valley, right? Fold down on the score line to create a mountain, and then fold up on our little hinge to create a valley. And then burnish. And actually, we're going to turn this piece to where it looks like this. So we're going to attach this piece onto our first piece. So we need this to be a valley. So fold these two pieces together on the score line. I'm just kind of pinching that closed right there. Fold back on the next score line to create a mountain. And then fold up on the last score line to create a valley. And burnish. On our hinge here, let's add some adhesive to the front. We're going to take our second piece and lay that over top, going right up to the score line, but don't go over it, and burnish that down. So now what we have is one long piece. Oh, I must have grabbed the wrong end. So now I need to change the direction of mine. I must have grabbed the wrong end. It's all good. It still works. Okay, so then in the end, our piece looks like that. Now again, you can use patterned paper for these pieces. You could use solid color cardstock. I'm just using white so you can see it for today. As well as these, you could print this out twice so that you can glue these two together so that it has a nice front and back. That's what I would normally do. But for today, I'm just using the one side. Now what we're going to do, let's see, I want mine to look like this. I'm going to add adhesive to the back side of our first flap here. And I'm going to glue that down onto my s'mores piece. You can really place this anywhere as long as it fits, because this is to be more like a mini album than anything. Then add adhesive to the back piece. Take your other s'mores piece, and here I would keep this down and line up the s'more pieces. Again, you could do some inking if you wanted to. Now burnish. And what we have is a little zigzag fold mini. You could do some writing, you could do some drawing, take this on your camping trip, put little photos in here. So many little things that you could do with it, and it sits right into your little box. You could even use one of your paper clips. Oh, should we do a s'mores on s'more? To keep it closed. I love it, you guys. This is so cute. So that's it, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed this session and enjoyed learning a little bit about what's going on in my world. I'm glad I'm able to share that with you, and hope that you check out the newsletter so that you can get these monthly printables as well and craft along with me. So that's it for today's video, and I'll see you next time.